Depression is a debilitating occurrence that some to most succumb to its effects. There are times when depression is self-inflicted and others beyond our control as humans. It is the perception of the individual and their upbringing that dictates how we manage rough and tough times. For some, tough times builds character, and others exposes inherent weaknesses. Thank you for joining in the conversation here on Rastas Realities. It is appreciated the subscribing, comments, sharing, and liking the video to assist others in their trying times. On screen is an important article, and we're going to explore some things regarding depression, and particularly in melanated men. This is not to discredit anyone else who may suffer from depression, but to highlight. The article is in the description box below. More than 5 million men in the U.S. experience depression each year. Clinical depression in women or men can cause sadness and a loss of interest in once pleasurable activities. But depression often shows up in different ways in different people. While the symptoms used to diagnose depression are the same regardless of gender, often the chief complaint can be different among men and women, says Ian A. Cook, MD, the Miller Family Professor of Psychiatry at the University of California, Los Angeles. The common signs of depression in men can include sleeping too much or too little. Sleep problems such as insomnia, waking up early in the morning, or excessive sleeping are common depression symptoms. Some people sleep 12 hours a day and still feel exhausted or toss and turn and wake up every 2 hours, says Dr. Cook. I can attest to that, especially during my accident. In 2022, I was hit multiple times on my bicycle, and the second time that I was hit threw me into a loop of depression that was beyond my control, and I did my best to remain above water financially and mentally and emotionally as well. And I did have a lady in my life who stepped in, and she pretty much did some things that I did not expect her to do, thus letting me know that there are still people, there's still good people out here. So it's best to surround yourself with those who are like-minded and who feel the same as you do on a lot of things. Not everything, but a lot of things. Enough things as to where you know that person has your back and you have their back. That's very important, especially during depression. The article continues, like fatigue, sleep troubles are one of the main symptoms that depressed men may discuss with their doctors, experts say. The second would be pain during depression. Health problems such as constipation or diarrhea, as well as headaches and back pain, are common in people who are depressed. But men often don't realize that chronic pain and digestive disorders go hand in hand with depression, according to focus groups conducted by the National Institute of Mental Health. Norman Sussman, MD, a professor of psychiatry at the NYU Langone Medical Center, says people who are depressed do genuinely feel bad physically. It's a medical disorder, says Dr. Sussman. And this is true. I did experience during that same a period of time of dealing with accidents and physical therapy and healing, I did experience a bit of constipation that I've never experienced ever, within my whole entire life. And it decreased my quality of life, to be quite honest. And it, and as I said in the prelude, you know, depression and tough times either makes you stronger or it exposes your weaknesses, and the weaknesses become more profound. And it's really up to the person itself and how he or she was raised. It continues. The third thing that's a side effect of depression is loss of focus. Psychomotor retardation can slow down a man's ability to process information, thereby impairing concentration on work or other tasks. Depression fills one with negative thoughts, almost like intrusion, Kaale says. You're slowed down and constantly thinking about negative things in your world. And as a result, it makes it very difficult to focus on anything. I describe depression as a form of reversible brain failure, Dr. Sussman says. When you're depressed, it's like your CPU isn't working properly. The fourth thing that you may suffer from during depression is anger. Some men manifest depression by being hostile, angry, or aggressive, says Dr. Sussman. A man who realizes something is wrong may need to compensate by demonstrating that he is still strong or capable, he says. And that's a fact. It goes to that pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Strong men don't cry. All that nonsense. It's nonsense. It's societal nonsense. Because at the end of the day, whether you are a man, a woman, young or old, or a child, we all experience different emotions. And for us to suppress our emotions because society says we're not supposed to do that, that's when you have one of those F-off movements. F-off moments, should I say. It continues, anger and hostility are different than irritability. Anger tends to be a stronger emotion, Kaale says. Irritability is a crankiness. Dr. Sussman says he's also seen men become hostile when they have withdrawn as a result of their depression and feel under pressure by friends or family to rejoin society. Isn't that the truth? The fifth symptom during depression would be stress. Men might be more likely to report symptoms of depression as stress. It's not that they have more stress. It's that it's more socially acceptable to report it, says Kaale. According to Dr. Cook, stress and depression can also travel a two-way street. It's accurate to say that feeling stress can be an indicator of having clinical depression, but also be part of the cause, he says. Research has shown that prolonged exposure to stress can lead to changes in the body and brain, which can in turn lead to depression. The number 6 thing that affects melanated men during depression would be substance abuse. Substance abuse frequently accompanies depression. Research shows that alcoholics are almost twice as likely to suffer from major depression as people without a drinking problem. It can happen for both men and women, but using drugs or alcohol to mask uncomfortable feelings is a strategy many men will employ instead of seeking health care, says Dr. Cook. There's a cultural bias of I should be able to fix this myself, and so I'll use what chemicals I have available to me to do that, Dr. Cook says. And that is so true. I've found that those who are already partaking, in drugs and alcohol, their levels of depression is far quite higher and deeper than those who are not on any substance. But what was left out when it comes to substance abuse was food and sugar and salt. Because for those who don't consume alcohol or drugs of any sort, food will be their issue. Food will be their go-to. They'll sit there and eat and eat and eat, copious amounts of sugar and high fats and salts to deal with their depression, which in turn may temporarily fix it, but ultimately dig them deeper into the hole of depression, because now they have to deal with weight gain and image and things of that nature. But the article is in the description box below. I'm gonna leave it here for the so you can continue reading on for the other two symptoms while melanated men are suffering from depression. And I greatly appreciate you for joining me here on Rastas Realities.